only I was born a window, clear and transparent. Okay. Before I go on, I'm gonna tell you what happened 28 years ago when I first tried to do this show. Okay, I played only two characters, my mother as a little girl and Hitler. It took place in the basement of the opera house where this janitor was hiding my mother. All she ever got to see through this tiny basement window were big black Nazi boots marching back and forth. So that night, after my only performance, I'm driving out to Panga Canyon, I'm going home, and suddenly behind me I see bright lights. So two men, most likely some kind of gang initiation, had been following me with their lights off. They ran into me, and they keep ramming into me over and over until they got me pinned against the mountain. They march out of their car. One of them has a crowbar. Get out of the car, bitch! And it's like I see their mouths are moving, but like through this long tunnel, I hear, raus, jüdische Schweine, raus! And their big black boots are kicking my window, and cars are driving by us and they don't stop. And I hear the crack of the crowbar, but my window doesn't break. And I'm shaking, and then suddenly this urge for life rushes through me, and I just, without thinking about it, I lean into the horn and I start honking and honking like the honky that I am, until finally a car stops. Out of the car come two of the least intimidating people I've ever seen in my life. Okay? A Jewish biology professor and his Chinese biologist wife. Okay? When my attackers see them, they saunter off, just like that. I don't know, I guess they couldn't handle the PhDs. I was unharmed. But something went through that window. I don't know if it was like, it was the window that saved me, but something went through that window. It didn't break, but there were like these fingerprints, mysterious fingerprints, all over the left side of my body. Their hands never touched me, but something went through that window, the window that saved me. So, I honestly never thought that I would be doing this again. But I didn't want to live the rest of my life like a coward, you know, afraid that if I tell my story, somebody's going to try to kill me. I'm not going to live like that. I mean, Hitler is dead, right? Okay, then let's begin the play. If only I was born a window. Clear and transparent, even when I'm closed. A sturdy, dark wood frame, clean glass, and a view of a winding path leading to the ocean. And when I would open, my curtains like gypsy skirts would billow in the breeze. I would have married the sky and given birth to stars. But that's not what happened. I was born 200 miles from Auschwitz. That is not a skirt billowing situation. And I feel like I've married the skin of my mother's house, tattooed with the ghosts of the Holocaust. You know, like homeless children, they flock to me for comfort, for care, for a warm cup of milk, for mothering, for fathering, for grandmothering till death do us part. Robicie popacie pitlikiem tlok! Robicie popacie pitlikiem tlok! Czertu wen, robicie popacie pitlikiem tlok! Robicie popacie pitlikiem tlok! my underwear. Now, I could only do it when nobody was around because it was illegal. Not the underwear part. The American music, because it could make you feel things, dangerous things. But James Brown made it through the Iron Curtain into our closet. I would open the closet door, which had this huge mirror, so I could watch myself dance, and I would sneak the record out. Get up on that thing! You better! Get up on that thing! Get up on that thing! You better! Get up on that thing! I love dancing with my shirt rolled up and my underwear flopping right and left. My grandma sewed it for me. I told her to make it loose. Make it loose, Grandma, make it loose. Because you see, my father says that the key to happiness is loose balls, like they're blowing in the wind. I didn't have any balls to make loose, so I got myself some loose underwear. And then my mother would be like, George, why are you so primitive? Look what you're teaching her. I didn't know what primitive was, but I like the word, primitive. Give me primitive! 1, 2, 3, 4! Get up, get on up, get up, get on up, stay on the scene, get on up, like a sex machine, get on up, get up, get on up, get up, get on up, stay on the scene, get on up, like a sex machine, get on up, get up, get on up. One time, after I finished dancing, I felt so happy that I had to wrap my legs around something. Oh. Uh-oh. Ride the horsey. Ride the horsey. Ride the horsey. Ride the horsey until. Slatka, voda dole! Sweet water down there. That's what I called it. Oh. And after the sweet water came, I just felt so cozy and soft, like sleeping naked with kittens. I'm sorry. I can't do this. Everywhere I look, there they are. The Jews. The ghosts. I like to ride the horsey, but I see my mother. She's only 5. Alone at night, in the snow, in her summer coat. She's looking for her nanny's house, hoping she'll hide her. No address, only the memory of a loud barking dog. She knows that if she knocks on the wrong door, she'll be put on that train that will take her away forever. I see her hiding behind Mother Superior when the soldier with the gun comes knocking on the convent door. Yes? Reverend Mother, we hear that you have Jewish children here. No, we do not. But even if we did, you could only get to them over my dead body. My mother told me that story when I was the same age. It happened to her. Like water over a leaky roof. Parents' dramas trickle down into the crevices of their children's imaginations. Over my dead body, would my little mother ever be lost in the snow? With my crayon, I signed on the dotted line. So how can I be having fun with James Brown when my little mother is freezing to death? I learned this incantation from my father. It's supposed to banish ghosts. But you have to say it with the loose balls, Dagmar. Tati is father and Czech. Tati, if my balls were any looser, they'd be on the floor. Try again. Certuven, hromice plopatě pitlíkam plok! Little mother is still there. I guess it doesn't work on child ghosts. All I wanted was to make the Sweetwater feeling last. One time, when I was in the middle of riding my cart horsey, I had to pee, so I ran to the bathroom. And when I came back, I was like, oh, that's how you make the Sweetwater feeling last. So every time I felt the Sweetwater coming, I would start running around the room in circles and slapping my butt to keep the Sweetwater from rushing in. And then I'm in a barber's chair. What is my mother telling him? He's coming towards me. Bzzz. 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 Pieces of me on the floor. And then it gets swept up like garbage. All the kids in school called me Baldy. But this little Baldy had her Sweetwater, and I could make it last. See, when I have the Sweetwater, or when I'm dancing, I'm safe from the Jews. Jews don't have orgasms. Moses said, let my people go, not let my people come. Dagmar, this is not funny. Neither is shaving my head. When Jody Rothschild saw my first grade photo for the yearbook and my naked head, she was like, ow, did you have leukemia? Now, my English wasn't good, but I understood leukemia. So I choose my words very carefully because the most popular girl in school is talking to me. Did not your mother remove your hair? No, that's sick. That afternoon, when my mother got home from a night call, the hospital smell still coming off her. Oh, I saw dead bush tie hanging by the rope. Dagmar, remember Dr. Kuzman? I catch him having sex with the nurse, naked. He looked terrible. Mommy, why did you shave my head? I mean, 3 times. To make you sick hair. Yeah, it's thick. But my sister's is thin and she got her 3 shillings too. I don't know why your sister has thin hair. I think because she's vegetarian. Certuven, robicie popacie pitlikiem plok. Robicie popacie pitlikiem plok. I'm at the Fly United baggage claim. When my parents decided to move to North Carolina, I flew from LA to New York to help them pack. So I thought. That's our sacred family whistle, in case we ever lost each other when we were escaping from Czechoslovakia. There they are. Both of them always come to pick me up at the airport. They are working that immigrant look. Dagmar, we have to talk. It's about my mother. Uh-oh. Last time she said that, she wanted her mother's body shipped to America. Now she's buried in a nice Jewish cemetery in White Plains. I want to take my mother to North Carolina. We dig her and we make the cremating. So we're packing the house and unpacking Grandma. Good one, Dagmar. My poor grandma, she did more traveling dead than when she was alive. She hated traveling. Mommy, you do know that cremation is against Jewish law. The Jewish God forgive me. I want that I am cremating too. I don't want these things crawling all over. Dagmar, did I ever tell you about the rabbi which is supposed to induce me in the Jewish religion? Once or twice? Good, then I tell you again. The rabbi, he asked me if I believe in the Christian God. I tell him the same way like in the Jewish God. And he said to me, George, the Jewish people have enough problem without you. Ufru, ufru, ufru. Máme hovno v kufru. Oh, Dagmar, make this to English. Why? Is important for understanding to the life. I get in the back seat of the car. My mother's in the front. My father is waiting for my ufru translation. It's hard to make it rhyme in English. Dip, sip. Oh, okay. Spit, spit, spit. Our suitcases are full of shit. That's it, you get it? The family packing the shit. The family carrying the shit. The family making the shit. George, why everything have to be about shit? Anna, you have no humor. All this shit make a bad vibration. Why you have to raise the voice? You know, I see the big black Nazi boots and it hit me somehow like a war reflex. I don't like the negative feeling. Dagmar, sing for us the Jewish song. Yeah. We're driving down the Long Island Expressway. I'm like, now you want me to sing? It make a positive vibration. Or we can listen to the kukachka. Oh, my father dubbed her kukachka because she sounds like a cuckoo clock. I'm crazy. And I know he'd rather hear me sing the Jewish song than listen to Esther Hicks channeling Abraham, the law of attraction. Oh yeah. I give it my Zionist best to save us from the kukachka. Simu shemen v'shemen zayin nerot hadliku yehi or babait. Drorolanu, al ketnaira, al ketnashira. Dagmar, don't sing it like Arab. Shmona yamim sivata dror. Habibi this, mommy. I did not do that. I sang the song like a good girl. I wish my mother was a real wolf. I wish she felt free to be the bitch that she is. And I wish I was a hyena so I could be a bitch right back. None of this good mother, good daughter charade. Like instead of timidly announcing to her, I wanted to be an actress, I didn't really want to go to medical school, I would have just like walked right up to her and said, this is what I'm doing with or without your blessing. And when she would try to scare me into compliance, you're ruining your life, you're suicidal, you end up in the street. Oh, I would have just screamed right back at her. I regret the day I came out of your filthy hole. Oh, and she wouldn't be all like, oh, my daughter hates me. No, she would conjure up a tornado and blow it across my face like a real mama bear. And she'd say, this filthy hole commands the elements. What can you do, little girl? Ooh, and I'd still be all full of fire from the sting of her tornado across my face, in full contact with the one who birthed me. And I would gather 100 square miles of clouds, and I would squeeze them into a downpour over my mother's head. And you know what she'd do? She'd wink at me, and she'd say, that's my daughter. Oh, God. That was so good for me. But what I do instead is I play victim. To her victim. Oh, the victim wars. the serious kind. Because nobody wins and nobody dances. Wouldn't it be nice if we weren't afraid of our own fire? If I could just look at my mother and say, who is this bitch who birthed me? And she'd look at me and say, who is this little bitch I give birth to? But instead, we walk around like half bitches. You know, lifeless bitches. Suppressed bitches. And when our bitch is half-assed, so is our tenderness. Tenderness without the bitch is like, it's like a sentimental puddle of mother-daughter do-gooders collecting pats on the head by whoever will give them. And without tenderness, bitch is just a bitch. Like when I was 15, we get a phone call from Czechoslovakia. To je strašné, áno, však je poviem, dobre. No, áno, dovidenia, servus. Dagmar, your uncle Rudla, he died. They opened the window on him. What do you mean they opened the window? This is how we do in old country. When patient is old, the nurse open the window, they get the pneumonia, and that's it, hit the bucket. Bitch, without the tenderness. Wow. To die at the hands of a breeze. The nurse opens the window and lets the gentle killer in. That same day that my uncle died, my mother took me to our first big drawer, and she's rummaging in there. Is potassium chloride for injection. Potassium chloride is that. In case there is suffering, this stop the heart. Oh, to be a southern-facing window in a spacious house. To feel the sun warming my clean glass, the moonlight reflecting off my skin, the rain washing my front, the thunder shaking my panes, the wind blowing me open, my curtains damp with life, my sturdy frame opening and closing as an act of love. But in order to have been born a window, my mother would have to be a window too. And my mother, she's a wall. Actually 4 of them. 1 for each year of her hiding. There's 4 vials in my mother's hand, 1 for each family member. I'm just a vial away. So if she sees me suffering, you're always so cheerful, my friends tell me. Yeah, I don't want your lethal injection. My first love cured my fear of euthanasia. He was an actor. I don't know why. Every man I sleep with becomes famous. I should have slept with myself. Anyway, I'm at State University of New York finishing my pre-med requirements, but I just couldn't stay away from the theater arts building. I would go there and just sit and watch all those actors and dancers getting their degrees in what they loved. I already had my science degree from Brown. My secret life at Brown was acting. I couldn't take any classes because my parents would find out, so I just got myself cast in whatever play would have me. I acted in French, Spanish, Portuguese, even in Czech in a Václav Havel play. So I'm sitting on a bench in this high-ceiling theater arts building with this magnificent window in front of me, and suddenly I feel a warm, large hand on the back of my neck. I'm not alarmed because it's gentle and purposeful. I look up and I see that it's attached to a very formidable, clear-eyed, thick-necked African-American man.
Hello, young lady.
Hello.
I see you sit here every day, always in black. You look like you're in mourning, but then when you look out that window, you look like a little girl dreaming. I want to get to know you.
Okay.
Let's take a walk.
At that moment, he had me. And after an hour of walking and talking, I felt like I was in a committed relationship. Now, he wasn't a classically good-looking guy, but I felt at home with him. He was beautiful to me, even his acne scars. It's because of him that I had the courage to become an actress. He calls me Dasha. That's my Slavic nickname. And we moved in together and we lived in Harlem. Our bedroom didn't have any windows, so we drew them on the walls. And then we started writing. We covered our walls with declarations of love and Shakespeare sonnets, and our book, Afro-Slavic Contemplation. One day, when I was about to do my first dissection of a fetal pig, it all came rushing in. I looked at this unborn fetus splayed out on a cold steel platter ripped out of its mother, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't cut into this unlived life. So I ran out of there crying straight into my king's wide arms. And on that day I knew that I wasn't going to be the embryo that never was. On that day, I called myself an actress. And I started auditioning with him for everything. We performed all over Harlem, South Bronx, off Broadway. I even got a part on One Life to Live. I was doing what I loved. And he taught me how to cha-cha. Not the Latin hips gone wild cha-cha, just the Harlem cha-cha dash. Smooth, like ice skating. Oh, we would dance for hours in his mother's living room. She was Southern. Desha, where you learn to dance like that? They got that down there in Czechoslovakia? That's my best Southern accent. Oh, he loved watching me and his mother dance. Oh, and then he taught me how to funk up the cha-cha. One, two, cha-cha-cha, still the cha-cha. He knew how to break through my please don't kill me armor. He invented a game. He called it bounce land. He would sit me on his knee and he would bounce me. Okay. I had no idea I would find this embarrassing. Oh, I have no problem humping the couch. There's something about a grown woman on a man's knee. I don't know, but it worked. And he would bounce me until my spine was nice and loose. Oh yeah, loose underwear, blowing in the wind. And with each bounce, I felt his fighter lineage was healing my little mother lineage. And he would sing, little Dasha, little Dasha. And I would just say any words that came to me. Little Dasha, guardian night, fierce shepherd, hero of my soul, lover me, yes, into your chest, rock, lock wrap your strong around my quiet, marry me. Marry me.
Yes, little Dasha, I will.
Merrily, happily, the stream, a dream, my life a dream.
He didn't marry me.
I mean, he couldn't. Walls, 4 of them. I underestimated the power one little mother can have. For the next 2 years, we lived our own version of Othello. My mother was Iago, of course. A different strategy. The first seed of doubt she planted was in Desdemona's head, not in Othello's. Dagmar, if you marry black person in America, we could have stayed and be a Jew in Czechoslovakia. You're so young and you're so beautiful, and this guy with all this skin problem. His skin didn't bother me. I mean, if you're in the presence of a king, a man of heart and soul, would you give a crap about some acne scars? And his voice, why it has to be so deep? Because he's a man. This is America. Nobody give you a job if they see you with black person. Everybody acting like, oh, it's no problem. But it's still the slavery here. I don't understand what she see in this guy. And he influencing you into all this acting business. Oh, sure, it's look good for him, but you end up in the street. Oh, I wish I had said. And what street would that be, Mommy? Broadway and 66 Juilliard, because that's where he is. But no, I come from a place where we respect our elders, and especially I shall respect my mother's war reflex. So I didn't tell her that I was on my way to see him. I just said, I'm going to the city. Oh, can you give me a ride on your way to work? And that's when Othello's inciting incident occurred. She dropped me off at Juilliard. I got out of the car, saw my beautiful king, but I waited to acknowledge him until she drove away. He noticed. And from that moment on, every man who looked at me was the one that I was going to betray him with. It's amazing how our little mother Iago planted my handkerchief into the pocket of every smooth-skinned pretty boy who crossed our path without ever having said a word to Othello. When we broke up, our landlord made us paint over all our windows, all our Afro-Slavic contemplations. The color of the paint he gave us was called ghost white. After our paint job was finished, all that was left was 4 white walls. Certuven, prombite, popate, pitlikan, cloak. I lost Othello. But I found Jesus in acting class. Hey! When he walked in with motorcycle helmet in hand, his hair disheveled, he was an exact replica of the Jesus that hung on the cross at the convent of the Sacred Heart where I went to school. Yes, my mother figured nuns saved her life, so like a properly confused Jew, I got my Catholic education. I would even go to school early every day, just so I could kneel in the chapel in the exact right spot so Jesus' eyes would fall on me. He hung so well behind the altar. I would fantasize about being married to my Lord. I was going to be a nun, so when Sacred Heart Jesus walked into acting class and sat in the front row, I was like, oh my God, I've been saved. The acting teacher called him up first. Christophe, sense memory exercise. But don't do it like you are eating a tuna fish sandwich. Do it like an artist. And what is the job of an artist? Dagmar? To express. No. Because you can express and it would be boring bullshit. No. To reveal. Because when you reveal, even bullshit is not boring. This is not about the comedy, tragedy, mask. No. We do not put it on. We remove it. An artist does not fix life, only reveal it. But, art can fix. I've been healed by art. Oof, mon chéri, but I guarantee your healing came from the revealing, And at that moment I thought, the whole Holocaust could have been avoided if Hitler had been accepted to art school. He was rejected twice, Motorcycle Jesus with his chiseled features and theater lights on him, he was mesmerizing. In his sense memory exercise, he was sitting on a hospital bed holding his 4-year-old daughter's hand. She had AIDS. When he finished, the whole room was quiet. He revealed. I caught his eyes as he walked off stage. I was next. Dagmar, today I want you to do the ancestral channeling exercise. Oh boy. I step on the stage. I felt Jesus' eyes looking through me. And I heard my teacher's voice. It is your job to go where you are most afraid. Normal people don't want to go there, but you are not normal. You are an artist. I felt myself backing away into the furthest corner of the stage. I feel my great aunt Bozhena coming in. Spí, holčičko, spí, očička zavři, mama bude s tebou spáti, anieličky pokolívat. Spí, holčičko, spí, očička zavři. You will not die in their hands. Sleep, little girl. Sleep. Forgive me. Forgive me. Dagmar, stop this right now! Bozhena would never do this. My aunt was pediatric anesthesiologist like me. She loved the children. This acting business is too much. She wants to show Hollywood everything. This Spielberg guy will never hire you with your dirty underwear all over. You think I survived the war if I'm hanging my laundry for all of Bratislava? The Jewish people don't advertise. I'm not the Jewish people. You Jewish all over! You have the Jewish look! What the heck is a Jewish look? The Jewish look! The Jewish look! The Jewish look! Très bon, Dagmar, très bon. I think we have more than enough of the Jewish look, eh? But I think you make a big leap today. During class break, introduce myself to Motorcycle Jesus. Despite my mother intruding into the inner sanctum of my acting space, he saw something in me. And from that moment on, we were inseparable. I followed him to Los Angeles. 3 weeks after arriving in LA, I got married with children! The show, Al Bundy. My first big job in Hollywood, guest starring as the sexy fortune teller. And I remember what my agent in New York had said, "Sweetie, if you're really going to California, you better get yourself some breasts." So I did. I packed my father's socks. They were just the right size and softness, knitted by Grandma, of course. So I get there on the first day of the shoot. I'm all excited, got my socks in position, and we sit down to do a table read. I think I only got to read like one line when one of the cast members, who shall remain nameless, drops their script and storms out the room. The producers scurry after them, and minutes later they come out and they're walking towards me. "Yes, Dagmar!" Oh, it's Dagmar. "Dagmar, we've decided to let you go. We're going to go with someone a little older." I'm walking to my car. My tears are dropping on the cobblestones of Sunset Gower Studios, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm such a bad actress. I just got fired from Married with Children. Is that a prophecy for the rest of my life? And then all I could think of is, I gotta pee real bad. So right there in front of the security guard, no, I did not squat in the bushes. I am not a sociopath. Though those bushes were calling me, I mean, I felt their humiliation of being manicured into these tight balls of perfection. "Is for sure not blowing in the wind," I heard my father's voice. No, right there in front of the security guard, I de-busted myself and I threw my father's socks into those bushes. But I wasn't satisfied. You know, I wanted to leave my mark. I've seen my father do it enough times. It's like a silent protest, you know, to pee on a monument. Like the day before we escaped from Czechoslovakia, my father peed on Lenin's foot. "George, you're so primitive!" I still like primitive. So when I get to my car, I pull out my primitive pee bucket, I slip it under my skirt, move my loose underwear to the side, grip, and pee. And then with my free hands, I rummage around like I'm looking for something. Exactly what I do at all gas stations. And then when my pee hitting the bucket makes a melodious sound, I look around, along with the person pumping gas across me like, what is that strange sound? Then, when I'm done, I remove the bucket, and then I sit in the car, and I close the door. And then, I open the door again, and as a sort of afterthought, I think this Mountain Dew drink is done. I spill it out. And then always when I'm driving off, some nice man yells after me, Miss, check your radiator, I think you have a leak. Thank you. Oh, I'm an old pro at peeing. But peeing and crying, I don't know, I guess crying is kind of like peeing out your eyes. I marked Sunset Gower with my pee and my tears. A double rush of primitive. Turn on the radio. Tony Bennett comes on. I left my socks. And suddenly I remembered the socks, that I took it out on the socks. But they were innocent. But aren't we all? When I got home, there was a note from Motorcycle Jesus. At Cedars Sinai, she's got pneumonia. Somebody must have opened a window on her. And then I had this religious urge to get my father's socks back. I thought if I could just get his socks back, somehow she'd be okay. So on my way to the hospital, I stopped at Sunset Gower, and when I got to the kiosk, the guard recognized me, and he pulls the socks out of his drawer. Looking for these, ma'am? Yes, thank you. Just for the record, you look better without them. His daughter, she didn't get better. So we took her to New York for experimental treatments, and we stayed at my parents'. Dagmar, you're suicidal? You want to get the AIDS? Mommy, she got AIDS from a blood transfusion. He didn't give it to her. Yes, but his wife could inject you with a dirty needle. As ridiculous as that sounded, I got a little paranoid. I mean, his ex did leave us a strange note. It said, she's for you two deal with this. And then she didn't show up anymore. So I stepped in as surrogate. We were by her bedside 24/7. She was looking less and less like a child and more like a holy woman. There was this bright light around her fluffy, blonde, disheveled hair. When I was her age, my mother would take me with her on her rounds to the pediatric ward. There were like these bursts of light around these children. It was like walking through a room full of little suns. My mother tricked me once and took me to the operating room to have a tooth extracted. When they laid me on the table, I panicked. Mommy! 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 And suddenly this hand with a cotton ball comes from behind, and cold liquid goes up my nose, and everything started ringing and fading, and I couldn't feel. It wasn't until my late 30s that I found out that the crazy doctor who shoved anesthetic up my nose was my mother. Mm-hmm. She couldn't take my crying, so she put me out of my misery. After euthanasia, anesthesia is my second big fear. Not feeling. Motorcycle Jesus wasn't afraid to feel. He held his little girl when she was crying. He held his little girl when she was sleeping. He held his little girl until she died in his arms. She was buried in a Jewish cemetery. Her mother was Jewish. Little did I know that 20 years later, I would be at another Jewish cemetery exhuming my mother's mother. That's the grandma who hated traveling. The one we're about to dig up. We're standing around her grave. Me, my mother, and Jesus from El Salvador. We picked him up at Home Depot. He is digging up grandma. Santa Maria, Madre de Dios. Dagmar, why he keep doing this? Is a Jewish cemetery. Maybe he knows it's not kosher to dig up dead. Cuidado, Jesús, la caja está muy vieja. Su abuela también, señora. Oh my God. Dagmar, what this guy saying? I told him that the coffin is very old. And he said, so is your grandma. You inherit this from me. What? When my grandmother died, I started laughing at the funeral. And I don't know why. It's terrible, terrible. Yes, it's terrible. It's really terrible. We should have get a Jewish guy to do this. Yeah, we should have just driven by Yeshiva University and yelled out the window, hey, any Jews want to make a couple of bucks? I don't like this sarcasm. Well, it's time for you to go because Jewish law says you're not supposed to watch. But I am doctor, I know how to detach. I have to make sure he's hurt. Who else would it be? And you're not even wearing your warm shoes. Your feet are gonna get cold. Can we at least honor a little bit of the Jewish law? You know, if you raise the voice, I have bad reaction. You're taking me all the way back to the war somehow, and I know all about your war reflex. I'm just saying, you may not want to see your mother in this state. So why don't you go wait in the car, and when we get to the cremation place, I'll make sure it's her. Go on. After we exhumed Grandma, her body was taken to a funeral home. Her third funeral. And I hope her last.
Are you the one who wishes to view this body here?
Yes, I'm the one. My father is keeping my mother in the next room. Dagmar! Is it her? This just feels so wrong. It's like meddling, you know? Meddling with the dead, for Christ's sake. Yep! She's got the socks! I hear my mother explain it to the funeral attendant. When the Lufthansa bring my mother to New York, she was frozen. I don't want her to be cold, so I put on really good quality socks from Saks Fifth Avenue. $60! Oh, can't beat quality. Well, I mean, those socks, they did look brand new. I just wish I hadn't seen her hands, you know, all gnarled, like ancient twigs. They're the same hands that used to comb my hair. The only hands that comb my hair, until my mother cut it off. You know, my grandmother, she didn't have to suffer the indignities of being herded into a crematorium. And now, she's being shoved in an oven looking like a stupid scene from a bad horror movie. And they got this large viewing window, like it's some kind of reality TV, so you could watch as they shove your loved one into the oven like a pepperoni pizza and slam the steel door shut. You can hear the burn. My grandma's ashes made it to Asheville, North Carolina. I'm not making this up. There she sits on our dining table, watching over every bite of unfinished business. Certo my ass. Ever since we unburied her, the ghosts are having dinner with us, and they want to play cards. Dagmar, what do you have against the ghost? You think you come from nothing? Is the people behind you? Shouldn't they move on or something? They talking to you is a privilege of a primitive person. Yeah, to talk to them or to exorcise them, that is the question. Dagmar, you're not Hamlet. He's the press guy. Now everybody want to get rid of everybody, and the kukachka telling you, no negative feeling, forget it. Well, what do they want then? Oh, they don't want to shoot them, they're dead already. They want to drink something with you, something to eat, a little singing, little crying, like the normal life. What, am I supposed to cry for the rest of my life? If when I dead you don't cry for me, Argentina, I became a ghost and you have to shoot me. Don't tempt me. Dagmar, grab yourself by the balls. You my lucky daughter with the Czech humor. Yeah, I know. Spit, spit, spit. But why are my suitcases still full of shit? Well, the answer came from a young Russian actor. Okay, I was shooting an independent film where I played a nun with a mother superiority complex, and he was supposed to curse me out. But take after take, he just couldn't feel it. He couldn't find the anger. So I asked the director, can I try and improv with him? And she was like, yes, please. So I told him to push against my hands. I look in his eyes and I said, you know what we call cockroaches in Czechoslovakia? Russians. Because they're filthy and they take over your whole house. You Russians with your arrogant entitlement. You roll in with your tanks. You traumatize my whole country. He was getting a little red in the face. And then the director calls out, action! action! And on this take, oh, the Russian boy was magnificent. He really told me to go to hell. Afterwards, though, I felt kind of bad because he was a sweet young boy, maybe 18. So I went up to him and I said, you know, I only said those things to you to help you get into the scene, you know? And he hugs me. And he says, I'm so sorry about Czechoslovakia. I was like, what? This young boy who had nothing to do with what happened to me. This young boy, he had the courage to take responsibility for something he didn't do. Not even his parents did, his grandparents. This young boy, he took it on as if it was his. And with his young, magnanimous heart, he gave me my country back. He gave me my dignity back. He gave me my tenderness back. So if this young boy could take responsibility for something he didn't do, what about me? Little mother, Mommy, I'm so sorry about the Holocaust. Dagmar, I am on the stage for the last time. I never want to put this Holocaust on you. I know, Mommy. I know. This is your life. This is your show. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you. That's my daughter. Everything is leaving all the time. We're here in one long, beautiful goodbye. We leave our mothers behind. We leave our daughters behind. We leave our countries behind. We leave our youth behind. We leave ourselves behind. And sometimes you just have to look behind. What do you see? I see my mother before the war. She's holding an umbrella, looking up at the sky, smiling. I see my grandmother with her embroidery, passing her needle into the other world and back. Into the other world and back. Her eyes lit from her work as if she could feel me looking at her. She's still there. She's still behind. I see myself in a field wearing my favorite red dress that Grandma sewed for me. I see the butterfly that landed on my finger. I love you, butterfly. I love you, Grandma. And one day, I'm going to be standing in the future and I will turn around and look at myself as I am right now, and I will say, I love you, And I'll answer, I love you too. Make it loose, Grandma. Make it loose.
Across the water just to find what